I made a video recently listing all the abductions that I have vague memories of. That always have one or two points in them that are very clear. Actually, it was spread out over two videos, I think. And, there's one other thing about my life that I want to mention that may or may not be related to this. I don't really have a specific memory on this one. I can envision a scenario where this might apply, but I don't have a direct memory of this, I don't think. I think what I'm thinking of is just kind of me envisioning a scenario on this one, whereas the other ones I know actually happened. And the reason I mention it is because I've already mentioned two things that happened in the northeast quadrant of Columbus, Ohio. One was between 2004 and 2006, I was out fishing up in that area on a river when a black gentleman approached me and made the comment, "Loner, huh?" After he just started talking to me and then ran off. And I think it was during that same 3-year stretch when 3 women abducted me, got me drunk, probably drugged me, and said some things about a revolution of the mind and do you hate this country, etc. Now, during my first time living in Columbus, between 92 and 96, when I was a student there, when a lot of weird things went on, and later I'm going to do a video about brainwashing techniques. So if you still think I'm crazy, you'll believe me when I start explaining to you how to do it, because a lot of it is like a reverse engineering thing. But anyway, during my first 4 years in Columbus while I was a student there, I think it was during the first 2 years when I had a job as a pizza delivery boy for a while in the northeast quadrant of town on Morse Road or 161. I don't recall which exactly. But it occurs to me that if there are people out there who want to abduct someone, a pizza delivery boy is a sitting duck. It's at night, it's by himself. And I've learned that there are many television shows that are related to my situation, no doubt about it, and movies. And Futurama, which is made by the makers of The Simpsons, is about a pizza delivery boy who accidentally falls into a time machine and ends up in a time when, in the future, when everybody has to have a chip that only allows them to work a certain job, and so they made him a futuristic delivery boy. In the future, I should say. But it's the pizza delivery boy or any kind of food delivery at night is the ultimate sitting duck. Here's how I envision it. You get to the door by yourself, and there's maybe 2 or 3 people in there. And what they do is, like so many people I've met, they open the door and they're really nice. Like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And then they offer you a beer that's already open. Okay? And you're feeling like, A, you don't catch it because they're being so nice. And even if you do, you might be afraid to offend them because you don't know those kind of things go on. And they knock you out. There's something in the beer to knock you out, and then boom. Everything's happening. It's happening. So, but that place where I delivered pizza was kind of a fly-by-night organization. I remember the boss was pretty short. So there you have it. And, I said that there are television shows that I know have several elements that are related to my life, mainly King of Queens. And I've learned that there are also some movies that I think are very clearly somehow similar to my situation. 2 made by the same maker, which is Jacob's Ladder, and I think one called Brainstorm with Christopher Walken. And then there's The Matrix, which is also made by the makers of V, and The Game with Michael Douglas. If you think about what's going on in all of those, if you said to yourself, well, all of this is these are real scenarios, then there's no reason you couldn't combine them. Okay, I've been told that I'm the subject of behavior modification, etc. And I've had attention that I noticed from the San Francisco police, though they've tried to keep that covert. And I said that one woman who harassed me flashed her badge at me. Okay, and that was very important. If that hadn't happened, I'd probably still be pretty confused. So anyway, the reason that I mention all this right now is that I wanted to mention that for about the last year, today's August 20th, for about the last year, about a year ago, I started getting a feeling like prickly kind of burning numbness maybe around my face a little bit. It started in my ears, I think, actually. And then it started getting around in my forehead, my eyes. And ironically, everything got worse with a headache on Christmas Day, and then I started getting prickly, tingly numbness in my arms and my legs on New Year's Day. That's how a lot of my life is gone. It's often an attempt to spoil my Christian holidays. But it wasn't until after that, I think it was sometime this past spring, when I realized that what I'm feeling is it feels like I have some sort of goggles on that are very firmly pressed against my face, going on a line about like that. It goes all the way up to the top of my nose and comes down right there. I'm tracing it right now. I can feel it right now. And it feels kind of raw. Every once in a while, I feel a little bit of relief from it, and then it comes back. It's kind of like a burning raw feeling. And at the same time, I can feel something pressed very firmly on my forehead. And I've also thought at times that maybe I felt like I was wearing some kind of heavy helmet. So maybe that's all kind of a combined thing. The goggles and helmet, and if I've come to the belief that I'm really walking around in the real world, and if that's the case, and there's this helmet thing involved, then that would suggest cloning, and that's part of the experiment. So I just wanted to mention that. And all of this, okay, a main purpose for what's being done, these things that I'm telling you about, are to punish me without a trial because I've been presumed guilty, okay, by a system of, I don't know if it's just a San Francisco thing or not. I'm not sure where everything started. I think I started seeing things that were digital glitch face before San Francisco. But some people have suggested to me that it is a San Francisco thing. I don't know for sure because no one will ever talk to me. But absolutely, they presume me guilty and have presumed that they think I'm going to do a crime later that they're trying to stop, all of which is a gross violation of the United States Constitution. But also, I've been reading the Bible, and one of the things these people are doing is portraying themselves as God, and they try to create a state of omniscience. It's kind of a cult thing. But I just read the Bible yesterday. I read a passage that very clearly said that you won't punish people who aren't guilty. So if you're doing that and you're playing God, man, you guys really should reconsider what you're doing. There's one other thing I want to mention. I may have mentioned this in video before, but since I'm trying to use the last few videos to list all the strange encounters I've had that I've been set up for, all meant to sound crazy. I know. I'm fully aware of how crazy it all sounds. And that should attest to my sanity. But, and I think it's possible that some of these encounters I've had are combined, but I'm not really sure how. This one might be combined with another one, who knows. But the reason I know about this one is because someone came up to me and mentioned it, or I never would have thought to look for it. Okay, someone made it a point to put it in my ear, a person on the street somewhere. I don't even remember who it was, 2 or 3 years ago. But Stephen King wrote a book called Quitters, Inc., and it's a kind of horror story about, I didn't read it. I know there's I think a made-for-TV movie on YouTube, and I didn't watch the whole thing, because one of the things they do is they spook you out really bad while they got you under this kind of manufactured hypnotism. But the basis of the book is that you can sign up, okay, for some sort of addiction-breaking program, okay, like smoking, for instance. And they don't tell you how they do it. They don't tell you the methods. They just say, we guarantee you'll stop smoking. And then all these terrible things start happening to your loved ones. Like I think I read in the synopsis that they cut off his wife's finger or something like that. I haven't had anything like that happening, but it's been very obvious that what's happening to me is a part of something like that. And it very clearly matches it. And I know that part of some of the things I've experienced are absolutely connected to smoking cigarettes, which I have no desire to quit. I smoke exactly as much as I want. It has nothing to do with what you're doing to me. The fact that it has more to do with my budget. But I've gone to the point where I don't like to smoke more than a few cigarettes a week anyway. But I know that part of this, all this brainwashing is connected. That's kind of the whole thing. And I've made a video about how while I'm sleeping at night with my eyes closed, I see some lights that flash. They move sometimes they move from side to side. There's some that just flash very quickly. There was one that was kind of shaped like a shining kind of star, kind of lopsided. Some are square, some are round, you know. But those flashing lights are directly connected to this Quitter's Inc. thing that's meant to just make me quit smoking cigarettes, apparently, and maybe some other things. Of course, if you've been set up from a young age to be impulsive, you might be vulnerable to addictions. I've never had a problem with addiction, except for one that's been off and on. That's not surprising for someone who's been forced into a state of loneliness, you know, and which comes along with impulsiveness. But otherwise, I'm a non-addictive person. There have been 2 or 3 times in my life when I thought to myself I was smoking too much without anybody telling me anything, and made the decision to put them down and quit for several months before I went back to it. Once when I was living in New York, I quit smoking for a full year just because I felt like I was smoking a little bit too much. That's how good my self-discipline is. And I think the point is that the Quitter's Inc. thing is definitely part of what's happening to me. I suspect that somebody got me drunk and got me to agree to it. Could have been combined with one of those other encounters. I don't know. But I think the point I want to make now is I talked about all these movies that, if they're real, there's no reason they can't all happen together, and Quitter's Inc. goes for that too. Okay, Jacob's Ladder and Brainstorm, which are made by the same maker, both about experiments, and I've been told twice my life is an experiment. You know, The Matrix, to a degree, it's, you know, someone made a comment to me about augmented reality. And what are the other ones? The Truman Show, then none of this matters. The Game, you can mix in there. All those things. There's no reason that they can't all be combined if Jacob's Ladder is real and a Matrix type situation is real and cyber reality, etc. And as I said, I feel like I'm wearing some sort of goggle helmet apparatus, and I can feel it on my face. I can feel the weight on my head, and I can feel pressing under my eyes and on my forehead. So yeah, I just wanted to mention Quitter's Inc. It absolutely is part of what's going on too, and I'm quite confident that someone got me drunk and got me to agree to it somehow. But I'm a non-addictive person. I always have been. That's a fact. That's the irony of it all. You know, during my first year at Ohio State, I decided that I was going out and partying too much and drinking too much, and I cut down to like 1 or 2 nights a week instead of 4 or 5 on my own without anybody telling me anything. You know, that's the whole thing. The whole suggestion that I have addiction problems is such a fucking joke. I can't. It's, you know, there's so many different absurd parts of my situation. That one's one of the worst. So that said, I think that covers everything. Now, and of course the Pizza Boy thing and Futurama is important.